The snowstorm that blanketed Canton, Massachusetts on January 29, 2022, did more than obscure the streets. It buried a life, and perhaps the truth itself. At the heart of this storm, standing in the merciless glare of public scrutiny, is Karen Reed. She was John O'Keefe's girlfriend, his partner, now accused of the unimaginable, striking him with her SUV and abandoning him to die in the unforgiving snow. Just after midnight, a routine night out ended with Karen Reed driving John O'Keefe to the Canton home of fellow officer Brian Albert after enjoying drinks at several local bars. Hours later, as the brutal snowstorm raged, cutting visibility to mere feet, the world tilted for Karen. Alongside Jennifer McCabe, Brian Albert's sister-in-law, and another friend, Carrie Roberts, they embarked on a frantic search. What they found would forever haunt them: John O'Keefe's lifeless body, face up, half buried in a snowbank. Prosecutors paint a grim picture: a woman consumed by alcohol, her fury spiraling out of control. They brought forth chilling voicemails Karen allegedly left O'Keefe in those early hours. Raw, profanity-laced messages, brimming with rage and resentment. Witnesses testified to her heavy intoxication, with a blood alcohol level estimated to be far above the legal limit. The state's focus then shifted to the frantic moments at the scene. First responders, their voices tight with the memory, claimed Karen repeatedly cried out, "I hit him! I hit him!" while pointing to fresh damage on her SUV's taillight. Forensic experts painstakingly detailed how shards of that taillight were found both at the scene and, more damningly, embedded in O'Keefe's clothing. His DNA, they asserted, was recovered from the taillight's plastic. Surveillance footage, played in agonizing slow motion, showed her vehicle coming perilously close to O'Keefe's parked car around 5:07 a.m. And then, the infamous Google search. A search made from Jennifer McCabe's phone at 6:23 a.m., "How long to die in cold," was wielded by the prosecution as damning evidence of Karen Reed's cold calculation, suggesting a deliberate cover-up after the fact. The prosecution's conclusion, delivered with unwavering conviction: in a fit of alcohol-fueled rage and relationship turmoil, Karen Reed struck John O'Keefe with her SUV and, with a fatal indifference, left him to freeze to death. But Karen Reed's defense team, Alan Jackson and David Yannetti, stood defiant, presenting a dramatically different story. They contend he was subjected to a brutal attack, potentially by people and even a dog, during a volatile late-night altercation. His unconscious, injured body, they argue, was then callously dragged outside and abandoned in the snow to die. Central to their defense, a twist that sent shockwaves through the courtroom, is the contested timing of that now infamous Google search. A federal forensic expert, in stark contrast to the prosecution's timeline, testified it occurred at 2:27 a.m., not 6:23. If true, this minute-by-minute discrepancy implies someone inside the Albert home possessed chilling knowledge of O'Keefe's dire state hours before his body was discovered. The defense further claims the taillight was damaged later that morning when Reed accidentally backed into O'Keefe's parked vehicle, or more explosively, that the pieces were planted as part of a desperate scheme. The first trial, unfolding from April 2024, quickly morphed into a national sensation. Jennifer McCabe faced brutal cross-examination, her credibility relentlessly challenged over the conflicting Google search times. Brian Albert, under oath, maintained O'Keefe never entered his house. First responders, their voices etched with the memory of that terrible morning, repeated Reed's alleged confession at the scene. Others spoke of the couple's undeniably troubled relationship, but the prosecution's case was critically wounded when lead investigator Trooper Michael Proctor took the stand. His testimony descended into a shocking exposé. Texts he sent during the investigation, deeply misogynistic, vulgar, and shockingly unprofessional, fantasizing about Reed killing herself and mocking the investigation, were laid bare for all to see. His close ties to witnesses, combined with these abhorrent messages, utterly detonated the state's credibility in the eyes of many. Proctor was later fired following an internal probe, a stark acknowledgement of misconduct. But for the prosecution, the damage to their narrative was done. On July 1st, 2024, After prolonged, agonizing deliberations, the judge declared a mistrial. The jury was deeply divided. The case unresolved, the public even further polarized, leaving a community aching for answers. The defense relentlessly tried to have charges dismissed, arguing the first jury had acquitted Red of some offenses. That argument failed at every level, including the U.S. Supreme Court. A separate federal civil rights probe into O'Keefe's death, initiated after the defense's claims of a cover-up, reportedly closed in March 2025, without charges, seemingly undermining the defense's broader conspiracy theory, though the defense continues to cite its existence. The prosecution sought Reed's private communications with the media, while the defense fiercely pushed to present alternate suspects and evidence of a dog attack. Judge Beverly Cannon, navigating the treacherous legal waters, blocked them from directly blaming Colin Albert, though the dog wound theory was allowed to be explored. Blogger Aidan Kearney, infamously known as Turtle Boy, who championed Red's innocence, was arrested for witness intimidation after aggressively pursuing trial witnesses, adding another layer of chaos to the proceedings. Meanwhile, security costs for the trial soared, exceeding $250,000, and tensions spilled into the streets, leading to buffer zones around the courthouse. Law enforcement scrutiny, though leading to Proctor's firing and mild consequences for other officers, left many feeling institutional accountability remained minimal, further fracturing Canton's reputation. The stage was reset. Opening arguments for the retrial began on April 22, 2025. With Special ADA Hank Brennan now leading the prosecution, the case was reassembled, brick by painstaking brick, with a renewed focus on clarity and precision. Brennan, facing the elephant in the room, acknowledged Proctor's misconduct, but urged jurors not to let it cloud the compelling evidence. He methodically emphasized the angry voicemails, the chilling statements at the scene, the forensic trail of the taillight, and the prosecution's timeline of the Google search. "This isn't a conspiracy," Brennan stated with conviction. "It's a tragedy born of alcohol, anger, and a deadly decision." The defense, undeterred, returned fire with a vengeance, their words sharp and unyielding. Alan Jackson accused the state of building its entire case on a rotten foundation, declaring, "The man tasked with finding the truth hoped the defendant would kill herself. This case was poisoned from the start." Their strategy hinged on the 2:27 a.m. search. Proof, they argued, of foreknowledge and deceit, a dark secret held within the Albert home. On May 29, 2025, the prosecution officially rested its case after calling crash reconstructionist Judson Welcher as their final witness. The defense has stated that they plan a more robust case than in the first trial, which is expected to last approximately 1.5 to 2 weeks. Their first witness is anticipated to be Matt DeSogra, a digital forensics expert, as they begin to present their full, intricate case against the prosecution's narrative. This is no longer just a murder case. John O'Keefe's family continues to mourn, their grief a constant, aching presence. For Karen Red, the stakes are nothing less than life in prison, a future hanging precariously in the balance. As the defense prepares its final arguments, the nation holds its breath, captivated and deeply invested. Whether this jury, unlike the last, can render a verdict that brings clarity to this frozen mystery remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: whatever the outcome, Canton's chilling enigma will haunt America's conscience for years to come.